Hello, boys and girls. Gods have been gracious today, as they usually are. And we have something really special on the table, something I've been very curious about, something I've been wanting to get my hands on for a long time. This is an exclusive product from Leatherman, which usually makes multi-tools, but this is a knife. And it's their garage series, primarily garage 006, called Harvest. So, for those of you who know Tim Leatherman, the founder of Leatherman Tool Group, he started in his garage. So this, what the name garage actually harkens back to the legendary origins of this brand. So the original Leatherman multi-tool was built by Tim Leatherman in his own garage. He was trying to do something new and came up with this iconic tool that set the standard for EDC gear for many generations. And basically, the Leatherman brand goal is to carry on that spirit in its garage segment. So they introduced these batches, so-called batches, batch number 1, number 2, and so forth, of many different specialty designs in hopes of recreating the success of Tim Leatherman. In short, it's like the portion of the company dedicated to experimental knives and multi-tools with a particular focus on quality. Anything you see introduced in the garage series has just a little bit more flair than the rest of the lineup, adding a layer of finesse that some people are taking up by. As of today, there have been 7 batches. I don't own any other batch except for this one. This is the first one for me, and kind of like the one I really wanted. And this is a batch number 006 Harvest. Another interesting fact about this particular batch is it was very controversial at the time when it was introduced and at the time it was released. Many people were, let's say, offended. Some people called Leatherman lazy. Some people said that Leatherman lost its way and that this was a disgrace, not worthy of Leatherman name. Basically what happened is this one was released in September of 2023, roughly 1 year ago from right now. It's October 2024. So, and just 2 months before the release of batch 006, they released a batch 005. Batch 005 was the pinnacle of Leatherman tool design. They released a batch 005. Basically, if you've seen a Leatherman Arc, which is like today's flagship of Leatherman, that was basically a batch 005, only just even more nicer. It was white in color. It has a thicker Magna Cut blade. It had all the bells and whistles, and it was rocking that free technology, which is like the latest and greatest that Leatherman has come up with. And I actually own one multi-tool with that free technology. Basically, it's really cool. That tool is really cool. It cost $275 at the time of its release. And some people thought, oh, maybe it's too expensive. I don't know. Should I buy it? So they only released 1,983 of those worldwide, 1,983. So that's the year that Leatherman was first introduced, or the first produced, something like that. So 40th anniversary. And so people who didn't get that tool, they were just, biting their elbows because they missed out. It was a great thing, and right now you cannot find that batch 005 for less than like $600. That's a steal right now. And if you find it somewhere, it's more likely like $800 to $1,000, sometimes even $1,200 on eBay and some other sources. So Basically, those people who did not get that tool, eventually they were felt like they missed out, they should have gotten it, and they were looking forward to the next batch. And the next batch was a very, very simple and minimalist fixed blade. So those people who, who didn't get the batch 005, they're like, what's going on? I feel cheated. I'm so offended. Leatherman has lost its way. It's a lazy company, lazy design, a crappy fixed blade. And by the way, it was $250 at the time. And it's been only 1 year since then. The views on this knife completely reversed. Right now, the reviews are in, and this knife is just awesome, right? And I always felt that way. I never was the hater of this thing. Ever since I've seen it, I thought that it was something special. So let's just take a quick look at what we have in the box. First of all, think about this. It's a limited release, less than 1,000 pieces, right? Once it's sold, it's gone. And this is its actual official box that it comes in. And that's kind of where the statement about this knife starts, with this simplistic cardboard unfinished box. And then we open up and there's the goods. Right away, you see a fixed blade knife in a leather sheath. It's both simple and not simple. What do we call things that appear to be simple on the surface, but actually are very complex when you start digging into this? It's called elegant. So I call this an elegant design. And if you guys know, this is like the traditional Benchmade foam, which comes out kind of gray. You have this brownish box, and you have this knife with the white handle and the brown sheath. And I'm telling you, it's not an accident. It's not an accident. From a design standpoint, this is perfect. This brown and gray color plays so well with this blade and sheath, and it just when people think about Harvest right now, this knife, they think about how it's presented. It's presented like this. That's how people find the pictures of it, and I think it's perfect. And to kind of tell you everything you need to know about this knife, I would love to read the statement from Leatherman on this particular batch 006 Harvest. The garage team views the fixed blade knife concept as one of the foundational multi-purpose tools in human history. It pokes, it pries, it cuts. It works, it creates, it protects. Leatherman is about being prepared and inspiring your creativity no matter what life throws at you. And this tool fits that mission perfectly. So when you look at it this way, when you go back to the roots, when you go back to the simplest basics, a knife is an ultimate multi-tool. And us being guys and ladies, if you are there, there's probably one lady who's gonna watch this at some point by accident. So, we've used knives as multi-tools. Everyone is guilty of it. You've pried it, you've thrown it at the tree, you've misused it somehow, right? The knife is the ultimate multi-tool. It's 100% true. And so, for a knife truly to be an ultimate knife tool, it has to possess certain characteristics. I would say it has to be just a little bit tougher, a little bit stronger, a little bit bulkier, a little bit sturdier than an average knife. I hate when they come up with these knives in these brittle steels, and they say, oh, you know, a different knife for different task, you know, don't use this on those hard things, you know, it's, of course it's gonna get, you know, chipped or whatnot. No, no, a knife has to be used. If I'm being an idiot one day and I have to do something with my knife, I want it to survive that encounter. And I think that's kind of what they have here. Let's read from what comes in this package. Batch 006 Harvest pays homage to traditions based on the pays homage to traditions passed on from generation to generation. We designed a classic fixed blade with modern aesthetics to reflect the meaning of harvest, honor, responsibility, and tradition. Made from premium S35VN steel with a durable G10 handle, Harvest is a versatile knife for many purposes. The included leather sheath keeps it ready on the river, foraging in the forests, or food prepping around the campfire. We challenged ourselves to push beyond our normal constraints to create a unique and long-lasting piece, and we hope you find it a product worthy of being passed down from one generation to the next. I just love that. And here's what I think. People who were upset at Leatherman for introducing a fixed blade instead of a multi-tool, those people were living in the past. In the past, just 2 months prior, where Leatherman said everything there is to say in the multi-tool world. They created these amazing multi-tools, which are the pinnacle of multi-tool creation, especially Badge 005, but now you can buy ARC, which is practically Badge 005, a little bit differently dressed. And there's nothing else to say. The technology is at its peak level with multi-tools, and Leatherman is looking and thinking ahead. This speaks to the visionary of Team Leatherman and the people that he gathered around him, right? They know what you want before you know it. And actually the year has passed, and it's been a year of very successful fixed blade releases for many different companies. All these companies are having field days with releasing extremely, well, you'd be the judge of that, but I'm just gonna say extremely expensive fixed blades, you know, the Benchmade Dacian, which is like $300. There's a Spyderco thing, like $450. So basically, and others, I mean, and these knives are received by public so warm and welcomed by public, and Leatherman has done it just before it was the trend. They could see and feel where the trends are going. This speaks to the vision of Leatherman. And actually, since then, there was just recently a Batch 007 release, and it's also fixed blade. It's like even more EDC friendly. It's a smaller blade with 2.7 inch blade and a shorter handle, like 6.5 inch. This one is 9 inch and a 4.25 inch blade. So I actually prefer this one, but that's not to say that we won't see a release 007 on the table. And guess what? The Batch 007, there are no naysayers because the times have changed and people are looking at fixed blades differently. And I'm gonna venture to say it kind of started with Batch 006. At the time when this one was released, there was a lot of naysayers just because it's a fixed blade. And right now people are welcoming fixed blades. So Leatherman saw the iteration in our knife-loving evolution before we could see it. Let's just put it that way. So let's take a look at this knife. It's beautiful, right? and it's got this really pleasant weight to it. The weight is so nice. It's so kind of, it's 5.7 ounce, if you're wondering, right? So let's take a look at this. What I kind of really like, the grind on the top of the blade goes this way, horizontal, and on this part where it's like the, it goes vertical, right? Really, really nice, very kind of expensive, I should say. All right, it's a S35VN blade steel. On this end we have all the branding. It says Leatherman USA and the garage logo. On the bottom we have again a garage logo and some numbers, B06T23Z9H8. I'm not sure what those mean, but everything looks like a really nice and complete package. Everything is completely meticulously thought out. And then you have these red accents around the screws, which I understand that you need those things for whatever the design is, for durability and whatnot. But it's nice that they throw in some extra color in there. That red color really plays into the whole design. The blade stock is really thick. And let me just get back to... Anyway, I could not find the exact specs on the blade stock width. Basically, you know, you can see it's really thick. It's thicker than Benchmade Crooked River by like times and a half. Obviously, but the same, just much wider than Presidio. It's got some heft. And then you have this jimping up on top. And as I was looking for the thickness online, I found some reviews from back in the day when this was first released. And I want to read you some. It's not only a POS, I'll let you figure that one out, but the blade is weird and the finish looks like it was made by an amateur in their actual garage. The blade is closer to a kitchen knife. Anyway, so that's kind of the kind of hate that this was getting. Absolutely undeserved. Absolutely undeserved. And then if you want to read something that people are saying now that they have given this a fair shot, I love it. Very beautiful handle and sharp. I want another one. Leatherman, sell me another one, please. Make a full production run of Magna Cut. That's kind of what the badge 007 is. I am very impressed with this knife. The fit and finish is superb. Thank you, Leatherman, so much for this knife. It looks great next to my Surge on my belt. Another one. Love it. Amazing job. Fit and finish combined with quality materials makes this thing right on target with all the quality fixed blades on the market. All right. So, by the way, some people were concerned that it's kind of like the way it's finished, it's amazing. So all these top planes are like rounded off, right? And some people thought that because of that, there's not enough sharp angle spine where you can strike a ferro rod, but there is. I've seen people go to the woods and strike the ferro rods with this one, and it works perfectly. So if that's your concern, there's nothing to worry about. It will work in the woods. It will work everywhere. Now, as far as the leather sheath, I don't want to say it's not beautiful or well made. It's absolutely just amazing. By the way, proudly made in USA. All right. But, you know, I'm kind of used to great sheath because I order knives from Ukraine. Basically, you get a knife that's like $40 and the sheath looks like $300 just by itself. So I'm kind of used to like really nice handmade leather sheath, and this one is on par with the best ones I've seen. It's got double stitching, it's got these nice rivets, which, you know, rivets should work you a long time. It's got nice retention with this thing. The only thing I don't like for my personal use is it doesn't have a dangle. And by the way, if you guys know of anyone selling dangles separately, if there's a company like that, please leave it in the comments. Because if I am to carry this knife where I live, the law is written such so that the knife has to be completely visible on my person if it's a fixed blade. No part of the knife can be hidden by clothing or obscured by anything else. So I do need a dangle if I wanna even try to carry this. And basically, yes, so just if you know more than I do, just drop it in the comments. But yeah, it's a beautiful sheath. And then let's look at this construction. So basically, these are T8 torque screws, right? So, you know, I was just discussing this blue box toolkit from, it says Benchmade. So basically, I've got T6, T8, and 210, and I was saying that T6 and T10 are needed for Benchmade, but I've never seen a T8 ever needed for any Benchmade. So if you get this one, you can use the T8 bits for that thing. And I kind of, I didn't find this information anywhere. I kind of found it by trial and error. So T8 fits there perfectly, right? If you even go to a T9, sometimes T9 may fit in a T8, but the tolerances are pretty good for this. So T9 doesn't quite fit in there, if I'm being honest. So I'm gonna say it's a T8. So yeah, and I mean, this G10, of course, it's a lot of nice knives come with G10, right? It's nothing that you can impress anyone with, but it's so nicely implemented, right? It's basically, you know, it's very, very dignified, and I just love this weight. This weight is really kind of pleasing, you know how you hold something and you're like, you feel it just enough, and then it's a touch heavier than just enough, and that gives you like, you know, that little bit of confidence down there. Of course, we have to touch on S35VN. Amazing steel from what I've read. I've never had any experience. This is the first knife in S35VN, but this is the only knife steel that I'm interested in. I'm a big fan of S30V. From those of you who know, S30V was developed to combat the deficiencies of S90V. So S90V was the premium steel of the time, but it was too brittle. So they came up with S30V because it was more tough. There's a lot more toughness in S30V. However, S35VN has even more toughness than S30V, and that's what you want if you want this knife to be a jack of all trades. You want as much toughness as possible, right? You don't want to just for this to chip or break and then somebody tell you, well, you know, different knives for different tasks. You know, you want this to be a knife for every task. Just like, you know, the Leatherman says, it will be good in any kind of environment. It will be good in the rain, you know, they say it's lightweight, but you know, but it's definitely great for all weather conditions. It's versatile knife. It's built for many, many purposes. Like, let's say if you're a farmer, you want to gather crops, you want to trim, you want to prune, you want to clean game, or do general maintenance around the farm. Of course, I'm not gonna do any of those things. I'm a city boy, you know, but this is how we can connect. You know, I can just appreciate it and carry it and pass it down to generations as Leatherman intended. You know, the included leather sheath is gonna keep it ready for you wherever you are. in the city, on the river, foraging in the forest, or food prepping around the campfire, you know. So in conclusion, instead of so just to go against what people who said that Leatherman was lazy with this one, I'm just gonna say that no, it's absolutely the opposite. The Leatherman challenged themselves to push beyond their normal constraints, and they created something unique and long-lasting, and something that was just a touch ahead of its time, you know. And right now it's a perfect time for this, I think. And so yeah, that's what it is. Here's what it looks like, and I think it looks perfect in the way it's presented in the package. Thank you guys for tuning in.